Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gutterwise Marketing Podcast. Super excited to have all of you with us today. Super excited as well because we have a very special guest. But the Gutterwise Marketing Podcast is where we are going to be interviewing highly successful people in the gutter industry from around the world now, and really figuring out kind of what they're doing to keep the businesses running and what their side of the business is all about. So I'm really excited today to be joined by Greg and Arthur from the Kaszowski Group. Greg, Arthur, how are you guys doing?
Hey, Rory, very well, thank you.
Good to hear, good to hear. So brief introduction for those of you who aren't familiar. I know you guys are pretty prominent here in the States, and a lot of people do know who you guys are, but for those not familiar, can you give us just a brief introduction about what the Kaszowski Group is and what you guys do?
In short, I would say the easiest way is anything that has to do with the spin-off business when it comes to recoiling, decoiling, uncoiling, however you want to call it, we do that. And we're mainly focused on the gutter business right now. We slowly started to expand into the roofing coils and a little bit bigger units. We do have even a cut length line, but like the bread and butter right now would be full coil cradles, decoilers, dual decoilers, triple decoilers. Like I said, anything that has anything to do with spin-off business and recoiling coils.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. And I'm really excited to have you guys on because it's a very different side of the business than what I usually have on the podcast, which is installers, contractors, gutter businesses themselves. So I'm super excited to kind of dive in and ask some more questions about your side of the business and get some insights from what you guys do as well, which I think is going to be really interesting. So how to get really kicked off here, how did you guys get started in this business of the decoiling and more of the manufacturing of the machines and things at the Kaszowski Group?
So I'll let Greg answer that question because he was really the one that started everything. So I think he'll remember the best.
No, it basically started years ago, over 20 years ago now. I used to work in a sheet metal shop in New Jersey. And, over the years, there was many things that I didn't like that's what we did. We ran roof panels, gutters, and, we used the cut length line. And with the whole process, there was many things that bothered me that I thought we could do better, or do little better machines, or that machines that rarely breaks or they last much longer than averagely. So that's how it started. And I started with the small stuff. I think the first thing I built was the recoiler for a gutter coil. So then we add to that recoiler, we add slitter and etc. Like over the years, we upgrade everything, and that's pretty much how it started. Like I used to work for a sheet metal, and there was many things that bothered me. So I figured that we can do better. So that's how we started.
And just so you know, that was the first ever unit. Was actually, we still have some photos of it somewhere, but it was actually built in a garage. There was nothing there, just a garage, small single garage in New Jersey, in Hackensack, New Jersey. And we still have the photo of the first one. Right now we have the yellow theme. The first one was actually a red one. Like the first few were come out like a burgundy color. So we still have that picture. We're gonna put it somewhere. Once we have like a huge one or something, like huge place, we just do side by side to kind of show where you start and where we want to go and we want to be, But that's how we started, basically in the garage.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like how you guys have that memento from back in the day still. That's great. So going back to when you guys did get first started, let's dive into the first couple of years. What did you do to kind of get jump started and get growing? And what were some challenges that you faced when you guys were just first starting out?
I'll tell you, just to break through and being noticed. That's why especially in the beginning, you're always going to make mistakes. you cannot avoid that. You always will make mistakes. What we did without looking at the cost, and those first few years were very challenging when it came to the cost. We made sure that we took care of any mistakes. And I think that built up with the time. And again, you may know better than us, but I think people know us from that side, that we follow through and we fix stuff. There's something wrong. We learn on mistakes. But basically, in the beginning, you have to keep doing what you're doing, take care of your customers. And I think that was the biggest for us. It was like comparable to what we do now, how much stuff we do right now. In the beginning, there was no money in it. We both had to do different jobs. You couldn't just live from the business alone. And slowly chip away. We got lucky a few times. Some bigger orders allowed us to, stretch it a little bit more. But in the beginning, I think for us was just try to do the best job as you can. And then if any problem comes up, fix it, no matter what the cost is, fix it, make sure the customer is happy. And I think that helped us a little bit to build that anyone you talk to, I think will say like the biggest thing about us, that we'll take care of the customer. That's what we want to do.
That's awesome. I really like how you mentioned just taking care of the customer no matter what, because that will eventually build that word of mouth and kind of get you guys that great reputation. And I think that's making a mistake and then being able to correct it in an amazing way is almost better than not making a mistake at all, because it shows that, you guys, mistakes happen. Everyone makes them. Every business makes them. And so it shows that you guys are able to handle yourself. You're extremely professional and you actually care about the customer themselves and not just the money coming in or not just, numbers on a screen. You guys actually care about the people behind it as well. And I think that speaks more about your business than just not making a mistake at all. So I think that's amazing. And I think that's a lot of what a lot of gutter contractors and a lot of people in the gutter industry kind of need to realize nowadays is it's not all about the numbers and things like that. It's also about making sure that you're taking care of people.
I think if I can add to that, it's also from my perspective is whatever we do here is I do that because I love to do that, like I like to build stuff and I love that. So it never, like money was never a first thing, it was like just, have fun with it and build it. And I think one thing Arthur didn't mention, for us, the most important thing also too is we listen to customers and any suggestions we always consider. And there's many things on equipment we do that came from our customers. Some customers calls and, oh, listen, guys, if you guys do that, I think would work better. And we always do that because we know some stuff, but people who does this every day, they run gutters, they recoil every day, they know much better. They know stuff. And we always listen to it. And that was the thing. I remember when I used to run panels and coils, many times we called the manufacturers like, oh guys, this is like, it's so hard. We can, you could change this. No, like no one listened to me, So that's why we, in our company, we wanted to listen to customers, and if there is any suggestions, we always consider.
That's a great piece of advice that you left there, is also asking your customers all the time, because like you said, they're the ones actually out in the field doing the job every single day. So they have the experience to know what might be working and what might not be working. So, getting that information and getting that, feedback is super important for growing the business, becoming more efficient, whatever it might be. As well, that also plays into a lot of installers and contractors themselves, is some of the higher management or owners maybe listening to their installers or the guys actually on the trucks to say, hey, this setup isn't working, or hey, this specific material is being not as efficient as what we want it to be, or whatever. Because the owners oftentimes, especially if you're not owner operator, is very separated from kind of the day-to-day installs. And so it can be difficult to kind of know what's going on. And I think that's a great way to do so, is just to get feedback consistently. And I love that you guys do that. And it obviously shows in your great reputation that you have, especially with a lot of the guys that we're familiar with here in the industry. So speaking kind of along those same lines, then, for getting your name out there in the beginning and even today, what was one of your more effective marketing strategies, promotion strategies on this side of the industry compared to what you seen in the past with what you did with the sheet metal shop and things that you're doing?
No, it's hard to say. I'm thinking I definitely, where we started, and definitely, the good product. I honestly tell you, yellow color, because like I mentioned in the beginning, the burgundy that we used, I don't know what was the reason that we switched. And Greg maybe elaborate on that part. I don't know if that was
just want to be visible.
just, yeah. And I'll tell you that yellow color brings a lot. And I don't know why, but if you many customers said I walked into, let's say, into the ABC or something, and I walked in, I'll look at this whole yellow thing, like, who did it? How did it happen? So that was one thing. Nowadays, I think, through Facebook groups and all media like you are doing, and, I think that helped a lot. And it was like, in the beginning, especially, it was time consuming as well. You basically try to, put the post in, try to respond to all the answers, all the questions to the post, creating that content. It's basically, I think, every day, and I do it till today. I go on either Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, look through all the comments, try to respond, try to engage people that have same interest. I think that's a little bit easier for us right now to do it than it used to be in the past, where you have to do the mail and, do all this kind of stuff. And then, just references as well. But yeah, mainly just every day doing something, trying to engage someone new every day, and even someone that does not agree with you, not just kind of fight and, and say, okay, we're not going to deal. No, try to ask the question. I say, did you use our product, or you talking just in general? And try to get the conversation and see, can we change your mind? Is there anything we can do for you that, it's going to make your experience better? And do you have any suggestions? Not just dismiss someone because they don't agree with us.
For sure. I really like the brand presence that you mentioned in the beginning with the yellow, kind of being known for this one specific thing, and then the word spreads. It's all, they have those yellow machines. I know I did a podcast episode with Grant Hubbard just the other day, and I saw that he had 2 yellow machines right behind him in his background, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what those are from. I know exactly who those guys are from. I'll have an episode with them tomorrow. So yeah, no, I that's definitely huge, especially when it's, people in the industry that are familiar with it, and they say, oh, yep, I know who those guys are. But then also, like you had said, keeping consistent contact with potential prospects, people that are in the industry, in multiple different channels, Facebook, Instagram, reaching out on social messenger if they've been interested, or just engaging. It's a really great way to put your name out there without being pushy, right? Because if you just start DMing people, or you just start, sending out crazy emails, then it's like, okay, get out of here, right? I don't want nothing to do with you. But if you're just engaging and you're really putting out quality content out there like you guys are, it's a really great way to build that trust and kind of that reputation that you guys hold behind you. And obviously it's been working for you guys so far. So I think that's a great thing. Is there anything that you're looking to do in the future? Anything that you're looking to try out, or things that you might be interested in, seeing the industry go in a new direction, maybe?
I'll have Greg answer to that one, because he knows what he has in mind. He's working on few things, and I'll add, but let's start with the Greg. Let's see what he's thinking about, and then I'll let you know what I think about as well.
We do constantly, we add some new stuff. We work on the new machines. On the beginning of it, we didn't really have that much time and money to invest in a new equipment, but now it's getting a little better. So we work on we have a power decoiler for a downspout machine. It's coming up next week. We changed some stuff on the full coil cradle because we had some input from customers that there were some issues with it. So we tried to fix that. We built a 24-inch coil cradle, full coil cradle for bigger coil spin downs. So stuff like that, it's like we have a 24. We're working on 24-inch cut and length line, because from my perspective, when I used to work 48-inch cut and length line, it's nice to have it, but especially in the roofing or even in gutter business, if you need the coils for trim coil and stuff like that, just to bend the trim, you can use just the manual, or if you have a lot, you can just use smaller cut and length line to cut down to that. So stuff like that, and I think also many times customers suggest stuff, like, oh, we would like to see going this direction or this direction. And like I said, we always consider stuff. It's not like we always go what they say, as what customers say, but we definitely consider. There's some supposedly there's some interest in square gutters in the United States now, so it's supposed to be a new thing. Not sure how that's gonna work, if we're gonna dive into that or not. Also, I think they switching from 5 inches probably gone already, or not many people do 5 inches, so they want a bigger gutters, so like 7-8 inch gutters, so we not sure where we're gonna go yet, but like if as of right now, we want to, I think, stay with recoiling, cilleting, because all of our machine either is a trim coil machine, is a 16-inch gutter recoiler, 24-inch recoiler, 48-inch. All the machines, they have a slitting you can slit, recoil. So we want to get all that equipment to the perfection. And once we do that, I definitely have in mind, I always wanted to build a roof panel machine. I have something in my mind, like how that's supposed to work. So that's something I definitely think about it. But it's a far future. As of right now, I think we're gonna stay with slitting, recoiling, and coil handling, like decoilers, all kinds of racks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you've said it all, actually, so I don't think I have to add anything to what he said. But yeah, especially when Greg mentions like our full coil cradle right now that that we're finishing, it's literally like being built. If you look across from me through the door, there's actually guys working on it right now. We're just polishing like just last pieces on it. And because we got caught by surprise a little bit, and on some KWM machines it wasn't fitting the way it's supposed to, so we said with Greg, we're gonna spend next 4 weeks, make sure that the next edition, and if I have to count from the beginning, this is like probably V4 or V5 of the original one that we built. We took advice of few really good knowledgeable guys on the market. We kind of run it through them. We send them some pictures, from what we have, and said, okay, do you think that's going to work? And question was, what is it that you really want? Do you want the price to be better? Do you want it to be more functional? Because people sometimes will spread and do really a lot of options, and no one really uses them. And they said, I'd rather spend $100 less on that equipment, and let's say not being able to twist it, because I've twisted mine twice in the last 2 years, So that's why we have run through some people that were recommended to us from the industry that do it all day, every day, and have like engineering and mechanical knowledge, and we try to do that. So there is like Gutter Summit coming up in Atlanta. We hope to have that coil over there on the display so everyone can touch it. It's going to be the first one on the market that will have 2 brakes. The one is building a frame and one's going to be on the roller. So we try to do new things and try to change an approach, kind of start a little bit of the war with everyone. So because by doing innovations, people have to follow, and that's how you get the better product on the market.
For sure, for sure. It sounds like you guys have a lot coming up on your plate, but it seems like you're very innovative. You know, you want to be the first to market. You guys want to be the best out there. And there's a piece that Greg had mentioned that I think a lot of people might have missed, where you want to get all of your machines to perfection. You don't just want to make the machine and have it be good enough and then put it to market just to get some money flowing. You guys really focus on quality. What about how you guys operate makes this quality so much different than some other people that might be in the same business as you?
You know, yeah.
I don't think it's that much of an operation thing. I think it's more like how much you set for a profit. You know, like if only thing you care about is a profit, so then you're gonna save money on quality materials because you want to make as much as possible of the every single equipment. You know, like for us, I know, you know, it's like maybe stupid, but like to be honest with you, like many machines, I don't even really count how much it really cost me. You know, it's like whatever needs to be done, it gets done. And whatever I think it's supposed to be changed, or the material we need to use different quality of the material, we use it, and down the road we'll figure out how that's gonna work out, you know, money wise. But like the priority is to make sure that everything is the way I want it to be, or we want it to be, you know, like looks the way I want it to look, and that's it, you know. And whatever comes up to the end, it's fine, you know. We will live with it, you know. It's like our priority is not the profit, you know. It's like we want that to be, you know, I want those machines to run for years and years to come. And, you know, like 20 years from now, someone's gonna call, hey, I need some parts for it, you know. That's gonna make me happy, you know. So I think that's the main thing we do here.
For sure, for sure. I think that's very important to kind of understand the context of not only caring about profit, not only just looking at the numbers, but putting the quality and the product first, and not just thinking, okay, here's the margins that we want, here's the cost that we want to stay under, how can we make a machine to fit that? Instead, you make your financials fit the quality of the product that you want, which I think is very different than from what a lot of people do, especially in the manufacturing space. So I think that's super, super important to kind of how you guys operate differently than someone else. Kind of transitioning a little bit, I would love to hear about talent. How do you guys recruit great people to work for you? What does that look like in your business, and how have you been able to do that in the past?
I think, you know, and everyone knows right now that the human part of the business is the hardest. It's so hard to find good people right now, people that, you know, that care, you know. So that's what we're trying to focus. We're not afraid to teach someone how to do it, and, you know, spend money on teaching guys, as long they care. As long you see someone in him and he comes in, he wants to do the work, he wants to learn, he wants to get better. I mean, for us both would be perfect if we can find people that can kind of take load of us, and we can do a little bit different stuff, you know. Not that always you can do it, but I think, again, you know, there's no, for us, whoever comes in, if you only want to work, and you want to learn, we will teach you, and we'll make sure that you know how to do it. And that's pretty much it, you know. It's like I don't think there's a golden solution in here. I think it's just on, you know,
It's a pure luck.
Yeah, pure luck to get really someone good right now, and that he wants to work, he wants to have his hands dirty, you know. And if we have this kind of test in here, because when we put the arbors together, it is so many screws, and it's so repetitive. It's like if someone withstands that trial and can go through, station of putting arbors together, and he doesn't quit in like 2 months, he's golden. He's gonna do everything else because it's so boring and repetitive. I remember we had to fix something once. That was right in the beginning, I think, 20 or 30 arbors. And we had to so quickly take them apart, put them back. I said, I hate this thing, So whoever survives the, putting, links together on the arbor station, he's good to go. That's just break it or make it point in our company.
For sure, that's awesome. That's awesome. Really making sure that they can withstand everything. If they can do that, they can do anything else.
Yeah, they can do everything else.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When you're training these people, or do you guys usually train them, or do you have someone on the team that maybe is a more senior member of the team that usually helps train them?
Listen, believe me, we are still comparably small, and we still hands-on almost in everything yet. And that's part of us being able to compete on the pricing and everything. We try to avoid the rapid growth, and going to what Greg was saying, we'd rather not to get that. We're not worrying about this huge profit right away. We want to make sure step by step we're ready for development, for getting better, for getting bigger orders. But for now, that would be still us. Mostly Greg. Greg is part of mechanics and engineering really, and everything else. I deal more with the sales and marketing and putting products out there. So it would be Greg who hires people right now, make sure they do the work, and they learn from each other wherever they can. And Greg supervises that part, to some extent. But still, most of the time, one of us would be involved with that process.
That makes sense. That makes sense for sure. That's good to know that, you guys you have separate roles. So now I'm going to ask each of you a separate question based on your roles.
Okay.
So for the sales and marketing side, what would you say is one of the biggest challenges when it comes to working with some of the customers? What are they looking for, and why might it be a bit of a challenge sometime to work with customers that, may not know as much about what they're trying to get into, or maybe some newer guys that are just starting out in the industry? What do you see as challenges when it comes to the sales side?
And I think it's going to come to the sales and to the service both. And I think you hit the nail on the head, saying lack of knowledge. The most infuriating thing you can say to us when you call on the phone, it says your unit doesn't work. Okay, they all work. They do. And sometimes after 20, 30 minutes or so on a phone call, on a FaceTime, when we look at the product, it's not that it's not working, it's just not used the way it's supposed to be used, okay? And we will always help you to do what needs to be done. Just don't start with it's not working. Okay, it's working. I know sometimes it may not. Sometimes something crazy may happen. And if you're in an industry, and I always stress it to the customer, we only have, from Greg's standpoint, we have control over all mechanical stuff. When it comes to electronics on your devices, on anything that you do, that's when you lose control, because we're not making them ourselves. We order the stuff, and with the shortage of the chip that used to be, during the COVID, the guys would switch the chip inside without telling us. Those chip, let's say, could burn or something like this. Things that we don't have a control on. The things we have control, it's usually 99.9 proof, and trying to explain to the customer, it's kind of like cool them down. It's like, let's work on it. Let's not, go crazy. Let's just talk. Let us know what you think, and we'll look at it. I think we're the only one, and I don't know if you know about that, we're the only one on the market. We actually have the USB port built into a controller. So if someone has the laptop at the location, we're able to log in to the controls and see what's going on with the unit when it comes to electronics.
Wow.
Does it always help? Believe it or not, sometimes the biggest problem is to have someone actually, connect to that and see the device and give us the access. A lot of companies have, block networks. So even if we connect the laptop, they cannot, give us access to their computers and stuff like this. But we try to think of everything ahead, but purely from sales points, from marketing, I think that's it. Everything else we can handle, but we just don't like when they tell us it's not working.
For sure, for sure. And so for Greg, then I'm going to kind of ask you a similar question. What's one of the biggest challenges that you face on kind of the engineering and manufacturing side, and how are you able to work together or kind of brainstorm how to overcome these challenges?
Like I mentioned in the beginning, I mean, the main thing we do, we listen to the customers, and whatever they suggest, we really listen, and we apply to the equipment. But I think the biggest thing from my side is it's like you said before about the people. Ask about the people work, like people that work for us. So that's the main thing, like they not always reliable, and that's the main thing we like. That's the biggest challenge for me, at least from that, from my perspective. Anything else, any problem any issue we have with machines, or I mean, we don't really have that many issues with the machines at this point. But anything is there, we work on it. And like I said, if I don't have, I don't have to sleep every night. So if there is a bigger issue, we just work through, and it's like this is not, it's not like we're gonna sit and cry because something happened. You just have to work through it, and that's it. So that's the main thing we do. Whatever happens is just work through. And
yeah, for sure, just kind of pushing through and not really having to worry too much about it. The work's got to get done anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. It's like you have to get it done, and
Yeah, for sure. I love that mindset. This kind of goes into one of the other questions I wanted to ask was, do you guys have any mentors or business leaders that you learned from or might still be learning from to help you guys grow and maybe work through some problems while you've been running the business?
I'm gonna tell you, and I always say it, and people may. I think everyone likes them, but I did, some on the sales side. I did and I have to give a shout out to them, and I don't think they'll ever watch that, but I used to do in-home services sales for Home Depot. They send me to Atlanta for like a sales program, like learning experience for 7 days, where I've learned a lot. Like it pays right now. We just learn all the sell wheel and all that kind of stuff about how you sell the product, how you follow and do good customer service. My manager, first a few managers in Home Depot, they really sales managers, great guys. They taught me and everything that I know. I knew nothing about sales before that, and they taught me. In the industry, I don't think we have anyone like this. We love Grant, of course. We learned from him a lot as well. But purely from a sales point, I always go back. I said, it was like just part of my life, 2 or 3 years. And, but the knowledge I got from this Home Depot, program pays off till now, everything. And like I said, I always give them a shout out because I wouldn't know how to do it. I mean, you learn, but this was great. It didn't cost me anything, and I got all the knowledge. So that's my part. I don't know about the Greg, but he probably knows everything. So
That's awesome. Who better to learn sales from than a really big multi-$100 million company that does this every single day, right? Who better to learn from? Awesome. What about you, Greg? How did you learn to get really good at this engineering and mechanical side? And have you had anyone kind of guide you along the way?
Mechanical, like I always, since I was little, like only thing I like to do is like, screws and stuff like that, so it's like putting things together and build something. So that's from a very early age. And I think from that mindset you said before, it's the company I work for in the United States, for that sheet metal company. The owners of the company, they always were saying that the slow and steady win the race. So that was their mindset. It's like whatever happens, we work through. Even if it takes time, doesn't matter. But on the end, we're gonna succeed. So that's, I think, I worked for them for many years, and we had many challenges, as any business probably. And that's what their mindset, and I think that's what we kind of implement here. Like we don't rush into the things. We just like to do slow, and not really, not really slow, but just to, just to get things done. So I think that would be main thing, like I got from the working for them. And the rest is just us. Like we like to work.
And let me just add that as another thing that we try to change in the industry, and again, we're right now, we can say we have it, we don't know how long we're gonna have it, but a lot of stuff where you have to wait, that's to the point where Greg says we go slow. A lot of stuff that we do that people have 4 to 6 week lead times on, we have it in stock. Okay, so we're not that slow, maybe slow and steady, but we keep growing, and we try to have that. There's a lot of times where you have the customer with a big business, and he's like, or not even that big, and he's like, my unit broke, when can you have it? And when he hears next week, he's like, holy smoke, because if you have to wait 4 to 6 weeks, first you're trying to fix what you have, and that not always works out. So that's where we're trying to go. How long can we keep it up? We don't know, because it takes a lot of resources, and it takes a lot of money to be ready in stock. But still, right now, we're trying to do that.
Nice. That's definitely huge. Speed, right? Speed is really, people pay millions and millions of dollars for things that people can provide every single day, but much, much faster. So it's like, look at Amazon, right? Mail delivery was a thing for forever, but Amazon did it way quicker, and then look at how big that they got, right? So speed is huge, and that's great to hear that you guys are really focusing on that as well. And I hope you can keep it up as well, because that's a huge value proposition, right?
We do the podcast with you, and who knows, they're gonna clear our warehouse tomorrow,
So maybe, right? You're gonna get 30 calls right after we post.
There you go, and then we're behind again.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of as well, is there anything that you guys have really learned from each other, kind of being partners in this and working together through this business? Have you guys learned a lot from each other?
I'll say I did. And 100%, I always say that in the beginning. I was the hardest sell for Greg. Because I'm very skeptic, and like if I know it works, it works. It's like, I think that was hardest for me in the beginning. I was like, okay, we're gonna send that unit out, and let's say my first sales
really didn't believe in me.
We're selling to California, okay, 3,000 miles. We used to be in New Jersey in the beginning, so 3,000, 4,000 miles. What if this? What if that? What if this? And we sold one, nothing happened. We sold another one, and he was telling me, nothing's gonna happen. And the world right now, like everything's breaking. Fridges, stoves, anything that you have, any electronics, TV. I was stressed in the beginning, but more and more we have customers we've never heard from. Never, like 5-6 years, we've never heard.
No, never heard from complaining. But
yeah,
coming back and buy more.
They're buying. That's how it is. They're like 5 years, and then he calls me and he says, "Okay, I need 6 more rug," and I'm like, "And you are with what company?" And he reminds me, like, but we did this like 6 years ago. I said, yeah, I didn't need anything, but I need it now, you know? So that was, I've learned trust him, what he does, and, you know, everything there is many times. And people kind of take advantage of it a little bit with me because I don't have that technical knowledge. And, you know, they'll say, and I was like, maybe they're right. And I call Greg and he's, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. This is how it's supposed to be. And when he calls them, like, I don't know, all of a sudden everything works. So, so for me, it was less learning that he does a great job and great quality and trust what he does. That was the biggest for me, you know, and that's what I've learned.
Yeah. Trusting in the partner, trusting in his expertise and his knowledge to, you know, stand behind it and say, oh, I know that this is going to work. I know that this is going to be okay. If it gets shipped 3,000 miles away, you know, I know this is gonna be all right. That's huge. Greg, what about you? What have you learned from Arthur since working together?
I mean, you know, I'm not much of learning. Is just grateful that he took all that customer service on himself, you know, and because to be honest with you, like, I don't really like to, you know, pick up all these phone calls and stuff, like talk to customers. Not like I don't like people. It's just that
I don't know.
it's just you know, I'm really glad that he took on that, and you know, I definitely that's a, you know, the thing is too is like you can really focus on everything. You know, you try to focus on one thing, and it, like, we kind of decided that the mechanical part of that whole thing is on my side, and whatever technical problem we have, it's I mean, on the beginning, like, most of them, they were like coming back to me, but now Arthur learned so much about technical stuff, and he'll be able to help most of the customers with the little stuff we have. Most of them, it's just from not proper use of equipment. And you know, no, I think that's more than that, you know, like his patience and the way he does with the customers, you know, that's for me, it's great.
Yeah, right. So delegation, right? Working in the areas that you work best. You know, you had mentioned that, you know, you're more on the engineering mechanical side. You do really well there, but you needed someone to put into place for that customer service, those relationship building space. And Arthur was a really great resource for that. And that just speaks to making sure that you have people in your business that aren't only, you know, just doing the grunt work and maybe putting things together, or, you know, for a different side, you know, doing the installs, things like that, but instead also having strengths, people with strengths where you might be deficient in or may not be as good as other places. So I think that's huge. And I think that's a great testament to how you guys have been able to have that huge reputation and be known for that quality, is kind of Arthur coming in and being the face, being able to communicate regularly and be interactive in those groups and things like we had mentioned, because that's how I found you guys, right? As being in those groups together. And I said, oh, these guys look like great people. So I checked you out. And then that's obviously how I got to know you guys. And so I think that's just, it's a really good thing to hear that you guys are doing the right things that you're meant to be doing based on your skill set, which is awesome. Is there any last tips, tricks? Is there anything else that you'd love to say to the people watching before we end here?
On my end, I'm gonna say, do what you love. Keep doing this. And I don't think that's me. I think someone said it already. If you love what you're doing, the money will eventually come. If you only set on a profit, you may make those money, but I don't think the stress and everything, you're not gonna be happy. Do what you love. And like you said, I always liked sales, and, you know, last 10 years, or that's what I do with Greg. I used to do, like it's at Home Depot before. I like talking to people, finding those places that you feel comfy in and doing that part of the job. Because like I said, some people just don't like that interaction, you know, they're set there to do this stuff, to do what has to be done, you know, just kind of like mathematician, you know, plus minus equals, that's it, no room for anything else. But I think don't worry about what people say, because they're always be haters. Do what you love, if you have an idea, don't be afraid, go out there and do it. But, you know, be good to the people and always take care of them in one way or another. And I think that's gonna take you, you know, big time, you know. So
Awesome.
that's what I would tell to people.
Greg, any final words?
Yeah, just trust us, buy equipment, and you're gonna be happy. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, if anyone's looking to reach out to you guys, or they're looking to learn a little bit more about what you guys have to offer, where would be the best place for them to contact you guys?
My phone number, if someone's watching, 201-456-1216. Just so you know, that's my cell. You can always reach me. If I won't pick up, I'm probably on the line with another person. Our website, and we have a few different domains. KaszowskiGroup.com would be one of them. Decoilers.com would be another one. Will take you to the same place. But my cell phone, sales@KaszowskiGroup.com. That's my email anytime. Greg has the email for a service. We don't use that much, you know, almost never.
Not because I don't answer it.
Yeah, because no one writes to the service. It's always good and, you know, and perfect. But yeah, you guys will find us on Instagram, on Facebook. I think we're even on, you know, eBay. There's, you know, any places you'll find us, and you can write, and we'll try to respond as soon as possible.
Awesome. And I'll leave a link to some of your Facebook and your website and things like that below in some of the descriptions.
Perfect.
But
Sure, you'll be much better suited than us to do that. Yes.
I'll try my best. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I've had a great time talking with you guys so far, and I think that you guys have dropped some amazing knowledge. So I look forward to maybe doing an episode in the future, and good luck on everything that you have coming up.
Same on our end. Anytime you need someone to talk to, you know where to find us. We can always record it, and, you know, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for even noticing us, and, you know, wanting to talk to us as well.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Always. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.